Hello, and welcome to Better Mental. Fear. It's something we all experience. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown, fear of loss. It paralyzes us, holds us back, and keeps us from becoming who we are meant to be. But what if I told you that fear doesn't have to control you? That you can train your mind to face fear head-on, not with anxiety, but with calmness, confidence, and clarity? This is the Stoic way. The ancient Stoics, Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca, believed that fear is not something to be avoided, but something to be understood and mastered. They lived through wars, plagues, exile, and political betrayal, yet they remained unshaken. How? Because they knew one simple truth. Fear is not in the event itself. Fear exists in your mind. And if you control your mind, you control your fear. Let's start with Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor who ruled during one of the most chaotic times in history. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." It means that the things you fear, the future, rejection, pain, are not what's causing your suffering. It's your thoughts about them that create fear. The event itself is neutral. Your perception is what gives it power. Imagine two people standing at the edge of a cliff. One person is frozen in fear, imagining falling, picturing disaster. The other person feels excitement, seeing opportunity and adventure. Same situation, two different minds. Fear isn't reality. Fear is interpretation, and interpretation can be changed. This brings us to the first Stoic lesson. Don't fear suffering before it happens. Epictetus said, "Man is not worried by real problems so much as by his imagined anxieties about real problems." How often do we suffer more in our imagination than in reality? We fear failure before we even try. We fear rejection before we even ask. We fear change before it even happens. The Stoics teach us that most fears are illusions, things our minds create that never come true. And even if they do, they are rarely as bad as we imagine. The next time fear grips you, stop and ask yourself, is this happening right now, or am I just imagining it? Because if it's not happening now, it's just a thought, and thoughts can be changed. The second Stoic principle is negative visualization. Seneca wrote, "He robs present ills of their power, who has perceived their coming beforehand." What does this mean? It means that one of the best ways to control fear is not to avoid thinking about worst-case scenarios, but to face them head-on. Imagine your fear happening. What if you fail the exam? What if you lose your job? What if your business collapses? Picture it. Feel it. Then ask yourself, could I survive this? Could I rebuild? The answer is almost always yes. When you confront your worst fears before they happen, they lose their power. They stop being unknown. You become prepared. And what we prepare for, we do not fear. Another powerful Stoic tool is controlling the controllables. Fear often comes from focusing on things we can't control. The economy, other people's opinions, the future. But Marcus Aurelius teaches us, you have power over your mind, not external events. Stop worrying about what is beyond your influence. You can't control the storm, but you can control how you navigate it. You can't control rejection, but you can control how you respond to it. You can't control time, but you can control how you use it. When you focus on what you can control, fear loses its grip on you. Let's talk about the fear of failure. It's one of the most common fears people have. But what if failure isn't something to fear at all? What if failure is a necessary step towards success? Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." This means embracing failure, seeing it as a teacher. Every great person you admire, every leader, every innovator, every artist, failed, many times, but they did not let failure define them. They let it refine them. The Stoic mindset is this: you cannot control outcomes, but you can control effort. Focus on effort, and fear of failure disappears. Another major source of fear is other people's opinions. We worry about what they think. We hold back because we don't want to look foolish. But let me ask you this: how many times have you held yourself back from speaking, from trying, from stepping forward, just because you feared judgment? And how many of those people do you even remember? The truth is, no one is thinking about you as much as you think they are. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinions than our own." People will judge you no matter what, so why live in fear of it? Live by your own values. not someone else's expectations. Now, let's talk about courage. The Stoics believed that courage is not the absence of fear, but action in spite of it. Seneca said, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." This means that fear is an opportunity. Every time you face it, you grow stronger. Every time you step into discomfort, you become more resilient. Every challenge, every setback, every difficult moment is shaping you into something greater. Fear isn't your enemy, it's your training ground. And finally, remember this. Fear will always be there, but it does not have to control you. The goal is not to eliminate fear, but to master it. To stand in front of it and say, "I see you, but you will not stop me." The Stoics teach us that true power is not in never feeling fear, but in never letting it dictate our actions. Fear exists to be conquered, and the only way to conquer fear is to move forward despite it. So let's recap. Fear is not in the event, it is in your mind. Don't fear suffering before it happens. Most fears are illusions. Use negative visualization to confront and weaken your fears before they happen. Control what you can and let go of what you can't. Accept failure as a teacher. Stop fearing judgment. People's opinions do not define you. And above all, practice courage by taking action despite fear, because that is how you master yourself. If this message spoke to you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Better Mental. This is a space for growth, wisdom, and mastering your emotions. And if you know someone who struggles with fear, share this with them. Let's build a community that turns fear into strength.